we are back in the building. Yes, we are. Ghetto service announcement.
And it is live.
Just so comfortable. It's a weed intermission.
Oh, hello there. You're in the face again.
G-Ride. I'm talking about Stone. Twist. Off that purple.
Slide on me.
This is the AM with Rage Madness.
I'm eating potatoes. I had some sausage. I had some oranges. And I got some coffee. And then I got my vitamin D. White water, not white water.
Well, hello. What's going on with you today? Welcome to D Live. Welcome to We Live. That ain't nothing interesting out here. What's going?
Just drip off now and just run onto the street. There's just urine everywhere. Every day I drive to work, I get to turn into the underpass and drive by and see the feces everywhere. Those are the real homeless people, these big piles of stinking newspapers and sleeping bags. And they're all just like schizophrenics whacked out of their brain, 5 or 6 of them sleep in just one little pile. But then you've got the more professionals. They're out there with their little dogs. They've got the woman out there, and then she goes over and gives him the pile of money. She's whacked out of her brain, don't know what planet she's on. He gives her a little something, and she runs around and gets in the back of the car. You tell what she's doing. And 10 minutes later, she gets out, bows to him. And then he just goes, get it. And then she runs back over a couple hundred yards. About 100 yards to the street corner, and these people just cash machine her, just cash. Almost every car, cash. Because she's got the dog. It's the same thing. We have the children, open the gates. Oh! Is that even happening in Guatemala?
Put down the candy and let the little boys go. You heard him.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Sir, according to the police department's probable cause affidavit, one witness described your penis as oval-shaped and claimed when erect it was thick towards the bottom but was thin and small towards the head portion and called it egg-shaped. Those are not my words, I apologize. But as Mr. has stated that this is a...
Put down the candy and let the little boys go. You heard him.
If Monica Lewinsky says that you used a cigar as a sexual aid with her in the Oval Office area. If Monica Lewinsky says that you used a cigar as a sexual aid with her in the Oval Office area. If Monica Lewinsky says that you used a cigar as a sexual aid with her in the Oval Office area. If Monica Lewinsky says that you used a cigar as a sexual aid with her in the Oval Office area, would you be lying? Yes, no, or won't answer.
The police stop beating up on blacks and Asians for no reason at all.
Right.
But before that, it was really bad. It happened to me over and over again. Luckily, I didn't get killed. I had to pray like hell. But anyway, going back to the UFO phenomenon.
Well, so real fast, my co-host here is actually African American.
Hello.
His name is Rage Madness, and he's also a big fan. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, thank you, Ray Masters. 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 It's good to hear from you.
I'm just really...
It's a shame.
Yeah. Welcome to We Live.
Hit it. Rage's already high as fuck.
He gonna be high as shit.
Okay. That's it.
There's that shit that got the fiends. Sunday whole motherfucker.
I'm so alive. I'm back. Woo!
You better sit down before you fall down.
I'm about to sit down.
How did it taste, Rage? How did it taste?
We be back after this commercial break.
How did it taste?
We be back after this commercial break. Cut.
Flow circle. East side. It's all the homies.
Hornet was Blue Steve, who played Kato. Kato kicked ass. Green Hornet always had to call for Kato. And Kato.
I'm one of those guys I like to entertain people with.
And you have enough
comedy, conspiracy, truth relating to cannabis. We'd like to hear if anybody has a cannabis story they'd like to do on our podcast. You're welcome to relate
Start
that
relaxing
cannabis
tonight.
story
I'll be
back
eating one
and
again.
forth. So we're here to have stories.
Okay.
Related stories in the cannabis industry and different conversations relating to cannabis. You got
Weed Live was an idea that I had. Basically, it came to me in the middle of the night. I woke up and realized that it was a live stream that I had to do because I want to do consumer education, all this stuff. We've chatted about the same kind of thing. You know, it's like the Solventless thing. We need to, teach the people that aren't out there that don't know yet what's going on and stuff. So that's kind of what this is about. And I know it's a big thing to you guys. You guys are a big part of that world. So. I figured we could talk about that stuff. This whole thing is kind of a lesson for Rage Madness. He likes
an education
to learn,
class.
and this whole process is like a, he's really learning and all that stuff every step of the way. So
what I'm doing, because I didn't know much about the cannabis industry coming in from North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, and dealing with the black market and people getting arrested, we wanted to come to California to learn what's really going on in the cannabis industry, and it's like this is a whole setup classroom for me to learn, and also I view an audience to learn about the truth, conspiracies, real stories, real lives in cannabis, and even if some people want to speak on the black market or the legal aspects of cannabis. That's how
it's all come together and stuff like that. I mean, basically, like you said, conspiracy, and as far as cannabis goes, I feel like part of the cannabis conspiracy is the use of chemicals and all that stuff. To me, I don't know. It's obviously not a true thing that I feel like it's organized or anything like that, but I think that there's a push to get things to be very unnatural. So maybe we could talk on that behalf or something like that. Because that's where I feel about the Solventless. That's what I was drawn to. It's like, I want organic food without pesticides and bullshit in it. I also want the cannabis that everybody goes out of their way to grow organically, not to be then processed with chemicals. So
definitely.
So yeah, what do you guys do in the cannabis industry? If you mind me asking.
You go
play.
You first.
You go in the legal
ladies.
So yeah, I own a legal processing facility in Southern Humboldt County, Northern California, and we do all solventless processing.
We was just in Humboldt. I lived in Garberville and Redway.
We
lived there.
Yeah,
I just moved here.
You know where the in between Garberville and Redway and stuff.
Yes.
We're right up in there.
Oh, awesome. All the point.
Near there, yeah. Oh, nice. That's funny.
Yeah, he's got another Humboldt worker here too. Yeah,
that's what's
awesome.
Up.
So
so
welcome.
we're right up in there.
So what do you guys do? Explain what your company, what you perform in the cannabis industry.
So we do all solventless processing basically, and we have one of our partners. He owns a farm in Southern Humboldt that does all like greenhouse, light deprivation, cannabis cultivation, and then we do all ice and water extraction and try and make full melt and rosin at our facility there in Southern Humboldt. So.
Oh wow.
So one thing that stands out to me about you guys that, as far as I know, you grow a lot of the material, right? Or at least you do grow as well.
Yeah, we have a partner who has two 5,000 square foot facilities in Southern Humboldt in like the Bryceland area, if you're familiar with Humboldt at all.
Yeah.
And he basically grows all our cannabis. I've been lucky enough to meet them as a team, and he's been really open and receptive to growing the right strains because I have more of a background in actually cultivating for hash versus he's been growing in kind of the 215 era market, I'll say, and even before that, he grew up in Southern Humboldt, and his dad is from Southern Humboldt and stuff like that. So he's been in the industry since he was young. I'm not going to say what age, I guess, or whatever, but young kid, he's grew up in Humboldt. Everybody gets going up there pretty young. So, he's been doing it a while, and he's actually really good at what he does. He cultivates amazing cannabis in Southern Humboldt. Recently, in some of the washes, we've been hitting 6 and 6.25% returns on our wet weight for the cookies and cream strain, which is incredible.
Ooh,
I don't even hit that as a cultivator commonly. That's very very good returns. So I've been, stoked. He's crushing it.
So what's the name of the new strain again?
Cookies and cream is what it is. It's from Exotic Genetics.
That just made me hungry just thinking about some cookies and creams over here.
It's got a very nice vanilla kind of Kush profile.
It's on the gas spectrum, yeah.
A little bit. Got that gas back a bit for sure.
And you guys also produce flour?
No, we don't. All of our product, actually, all the greenhouse, it goes into fresh frozen. So we do whole plant fresh frozen, bubble hash, everything, the tops, everything goes into our product. So we turn whole greenhouses into bubble hash, and then anything that doesn't melt super well, we squish and turn into rosin.
We'll turn into rosin.
Yeah.
Wow, so can you name some of the products and name your company again and some of the products that you guys produce? Like, say, name some of the, what is it called? The strands that you...
Mm-hmm. So we're fully melted.
Fully melted.
And you can find us, all around California.
And what does that mean to be fully melted? Because I want to...
Yeah, so it really speaks to us about, we as a company work toward producing, good resin that's full melt. And, from people who come from the kind of bubble hash side of things, they know full melt is one of those terms that means that's really high quality bubble hash. So we like to produce full melt, so we have coined the name Fully Melted because we like to produce the best possible, in California.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And then we do a lot of stuff. We make, full melt bubble hash, and then we do rosin as well. And then we do some co-branding with Blue River, and we have cremes out with them, and vape pens that are made out of just rosin and stuff like that. So those have been pretty popular on the market.
That's something I want to talk to you about too, because I actually bought one of those Blue River Terps ones. It was strawberry, strawberry and cream actually.
So that'd be our strawberry banana mixed with our cookies and cream.
I imagined that in a wet dream.
Strawberry banana.
It's a good mix for sure.
Dude, it emphasized the gassiness of both, that little bit of gas in the strawberry banana that just, brought them together. Very amazing.
Do you have some of that with you today? Some of that strawberry, or did you guys?
I don't have any of the strawberry banana with us today.
Just trying to sneak and try to ask.
No, sadly
maybe if he was there, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be here tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be coming back.
Wow, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
You feel like the best cannabis that's grown in the world is grown in Humboldt County? Because I heard through rumors, I heard 70-80% of the cannabis comes from Humboldt. So I'm just wondering, do you feel like that the best cannabis grown has been ever grown comes from Humboldt County?
I think so because of a mix of things. It's got a lot of diverse microclimates, and there's a nice banana belt near the coast and in southern Humboldt where you get this amazing kind of evened out perfect agricultural season that helps your plants really thrive and finish well and have a diverse terpene profile and stuff. But I'd say there's a lot of really good cannabis grown in Northern California in general. Also, I think Mendo and Humboldt pump out
the triangle area.
Some of the always the most cannabis for the nation.
What's the triangle area? Humboldt, Mendocino, and what was the
Trinity. Yeah.
So
the triangle area.
The triangle. What they call it?
The Emerald Triangle.
The Emerald Triangle. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about, but you guys know what you're talking about, and that's why you're here on Weed Live. Welcome, guys. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you
wow. So you want? So are you? Is your cannabis in markets, in stores? Where can we find your product? What do you call it? The vanilla something, strawberry, banana.
The cookies and cream. Yeah, you can find our products.
Where can you find your products?
In California recreational stores. You'll have to call around and ask. It's always hard to keep track of
where everything
is and where everything people are at and with their inventory and stuff like that. But yeah, we're working on getting a system on our website to keep track of that.
Yeah, because it's a new the cannabis industry, since it's been around for years, but now it's become legal. It's everything is new.
Yeah.
So every time you turn around, it's always what do you think about the regulations on being a legal cannabis operator?
They're pretty rough, honestly.
Okay.
They create a lot of extra costs for companies and just weird kind of hard situations that don't make any sense. As far as for example, like we had a distributor who had a bunch of our product in their system and at their facility, and then they called us one day and said, oh, we're shutting down, come pick up your product. So we had to come pick up the product. We got a manifest from them, but they never actually transferred it out of their system. So for 6 months we were sitting there and we couldn't sell this product anywhere because it's stuck on a digital scale on the system. It's stuck at their facility, so we can't sell it from another distributor.
So
they never made the transfer.
So
we had to go through 6 months of paperwork to try and get it actually put back in the system in the right place. And by the time that happens, you're just like, well, you know, it cost me a lot of money, essentially sitting on product, not being able to sell it for 6 months. So things like that occur where you're just like, why does anyone like need to go through that type of kind of ridiculous business
when it should have came back to you and you continue processing it and selling it as the
product. Yeah, exactly. We should have just been able to sell it to another distributor that day, and they should have been able to sell it to retailers within a couple days at least.
Did you lose profit on that situation because of all the paperwork?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Because we had to get things, you know, figured out. But
regulations.
It is what it is, you know. It's just how it is in the cannabis industry.
Yes. And then who do we have next to you? Introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Oh,
welcome to the Murray Poet Show.
First, I'm gonna do this.
Oh yes.
So this is that purple or punch. I don't remember. Oh, hold on. It's not ready yet. It's too hot. It's too hot. Hold on. All right, ready now. Now it's ready.
Yeah. You don't want it too hot.
Yep. Dip it and then plunge the whole wand in there. There you go. That stuff tastes incredible. There you go. You gotta go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Damn. So what is that?
The purple drank breath?
Purple drank breath.
Bam.
Yeah.
The purple, what would you call it?
Wow.
Purple drank breath.
What you call me?
That's a fucking awesome name too.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Purple drink thing.
Hella fire last year. Was there purple drink breath? This is actually Brennan and Amanda's cut from Garden of Grease. It's a great cut. It smells terpy, fire. It's super good.
It is. It really is.
So do you have any kind of inspirations, and then I'm going to move on to the next person, last question. Do you have any inspirations to give to people who are struggling in the cannabis industries, the ones who doesn't have the fund and the taxes and can't pay the taxes to keep up? Do you have any inspirations to give to some of these people? Is that a hard question?
I'd say honestly, this year things are looking up. You know, prices have been up this year. I think a lot of farms who have made it through to this point can see a strategy at least for success in the future. And I think a lot of these big operators, even before Corona, were, you know, slashing executive staff by 80%. They were really having a hard time existing to meet the investor kind of projections they gave when they took on capital, you know, 2 years ago. Prior for that, they were really not meeting projections year after year, so that they weren't getting that, you know, second round of funding, and, you know, things were getting tough for even the big players in the industry. So I think a lot of the little guys who were able to survive and like figure out how to just work within their means and like produce within their means, they right now are finding more success like this season. Sadly, I mean, the fires recently have really affected a lot of people in their season, so that's looking a little less positive, sadly. But, you know, everyone who got those first round of deps off and have been able to like get quality product into the market, I think they're doing all right this year. Definitely better than the last couple years.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Awesome
Wow.
answer.
Good answer. Wow. That was very inspirational. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do actually have a few. So you won Eagle Clash?
We did. We both did, yeah.
Separately or together, or like the same thing, or like it was you grew it and you watched it, or tell the story.
He got
and
first place, I got second.
And what is this competition?
Yeah.
And
But I mean, realistically though, like we both grew it and like both watched it together. So like we shared it, I think.
Yeah, wow, no, that's
day,
amazing.
sure.
Yeah, that's what I want to
I've
know
never
the
heard of
details.
this. What is this competition? Explain this competition and what did you guys win or something?
So Ego Clash is like a hash competition that's held in like California, and then we won the one in Spain actually.
Whoa.
in Barcelona. So that was super fun. Like
awesome.
right before Corona.
Yeah, right.
So that was an interesting experience overall, definitely.
We went to
say
Spain
the
and we
least.
spent like 72 hours in Spain and we have to come back.
Yeah, and we were planning on
That's
spending we were trying to be gone for like
Interesting.
3 or 4 weeks actually.
That's amazing.
Go to
You won
Morocco
awards,
and shit.
2 awards in 72 hours.
And then we came back. It was just like, boom.
Wow.
It's nice we won it. Yeah.
Wow.
And what kind of award did you win for making the best hash? And then what was the title? Or
So in Ego Clash, there's like a couple different categories. Like one of them's flower, one of them's BHO, one of them's hash, and one of them's rosin. So we won the hash category. for
hash
just
category.
The
Wow.
best, full melt hash, first and second.
Awesome.
Oh,
That's
man.
fucking awesome. What strains did you win with?
Smarties and Dosi Papaya.
Yeah, Dosi Papaya got the first
Which is
one.
Bop Gun, actually, from Oni Seed Co. I always call it Dosi Papaya, but it's Bop Gun is the name of the seed pack that got popped.
Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fuck yeah. Cool, both of you. Cool.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all
Thank
actually
you.
single source. It was from our personal grow, from what we do at home. And actually the Bop Gun, he selected like from the seed. It's actually a cut that he selected. It's great.
Yeah,
it's
it's,
beautiful. And the Smarties is the cut you got it from.
You
what I
guys still have
understood,
those
right?
on the market right now to purchase?
Well, that's from our
you moved
personal
on.
These
guy.
are
We
from
haven't-
our
we haven't
personal,
got
so they're
those
really on the
into
market.
wow.
into
The championship
The
prize
full-
is mine. It's all mine. It's all mine because I'm
Yeah.
a champion of it.
from our legal
You
6.
can't get any sage happiness. No.
It's for us and for our friends,
joking.
Yeah. But
Just been funny.
So what do you do at home?
well, just we grow
organic.
personal organic soil. We've actually just moved on to 100% organic. Before I was
Wow.
growing in cocoa, like an amended cocoa, and doing some salt nutrients as well. But
Okay.
we've moved to 100% organic soil
Wow.
regimen with great success. I think this last round that we did was amazing and brought out some of the best cookies and cream plants that I've seen in like at least a couple of years.
And you guys doing
Awesome.
with the regeneration thing? What do they call it? Regeneration or
Regenerative
regenerative farming?
Not yet. Hopefully.
Okay. What's your
That has to be outside though.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you indoor. Oh, you do indoor.
Yeah, we
Okay,
do
indoor.
indoor.
Okay, indoor. Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
Cool. So you do living soil indoor?
It is living soil, but we use pots and then like re-amend the soil, and we like shift basically cycles in and out. So we'll have like a round's worth of soil going, like, and then when we dump it out, we'll have the round from before re-amended. We'll test it and like just get it going again like that.
Awesome.
It's a good mix from like a local spot, like a biological crop solution. Probably because it's around the area, and it's good. Good
And
soil.
shout out
Yeah.
Biologic, because sadly their location in Oregon, in Phoenix, Oregon, burned down. So
Wow.
if you're
Oh,
around
no.
the Santa Rosa area and you can support them and go pick up a bag of soil, or they have an amazing like Alaskan compost that's really broken down, has a bunch of really amazing like humic content. So
Name the company again in Oregon. Where are they at again? And name the company.
Biologic Crop Solutions in Oregon and Santa Rosa in California. If you're in
okay,
Northern
so-
California in
okay.
the Bay Area, they're in Santa Rosa.
Okay, cool. Because we up from Santa Rosa, right up the street.
Yeah, no,
We're
definitely.
7
We
miles
use
from Santa
their gold blend soil.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Cool. So, I guess a question that's constantly asked is like on the growing end, what can people do, in your perspective or opinion, to grow for extraction or for rosin, specifically for solventless, for hash? What do you look for in plants? What do how do you choose the strains? First of all, you have an amazing lineup. That's why I was like, I want of each, definitely.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, first to start off, I was like, so where do you start?
Well, for me, like with the kind of like new school hash that we do with the freeze dryer and making like more like dabbable foam melt, I look for like a really more dry resin, I guess I'd call it, than like a wet or greasy resin, because it ends up being harder to extract with the bubble bags. With a wet resin or greasy resin, it can get stuck on the bags and just have a big issue with that. So dry resin, like first and foremost, is lovely to work with, although some strains are just worth dealing with the the bullshit, so to speak, like the Smarties, for example.
But there are some tricks too. Like you can get like drier resin strains and then wash them together with like greasier resin, and then you make them like easier to be collected from the bag.
This is fascinating.
We actually do that with the Smarties because the Smarties is super duper whooper greasy, and then we put like a percentage of cookies and cream just to like make it wash easier, you know.
Wow,
so we don't lose a bunch of stuff.
And a quick question, because I don't. What do you call dry resin? Why do you call it dry resin? What's the difference?
That is a good question.
So to me, yeah, that's a good thing to clarify. When I'm talking about dry resin, I mean like when the plant is like near its peak of harvest, like you can kind of touch it and you'll feel like when you kind of like just brush your finger on a bud, like you can rub your fingers together and you'll feel more of like either like a sandy dry texture, which is more what I'm looking for, because that, you know, you can feel like those really ripe resin heads, and they have a good like a thick enough waxy coating where they're not going to burst so easy.
Stabilized.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So
okay. Very interesting.
then, or you feel that it's very greasy and you don't feel any of that sandy texture, and you're like, okay, maybe that's going to be a tougher one to wash. You know, you might you always want to pull out the microscope, I feel like, if you can. Like, it's a pretty easy thing to bring in the field. Either something you can attach to your iPhone, like a clip one. You can get them from Amazon. They're really cheap. Like $20, and then or just one you hold up to your eye, you know, literally like a jeweler's microscope, like 15 to 30x is like a good number. Like,
and what are you looking for? The trichomes, the real trichomes?
Yeah, just like looking for full like bulbous resin heads, because like if you end up looking at a lot of plants, you kind of see that it produces like a couple different types of resin essentially. So you're looking for that resin that has like a nice thick bulbous head.
Oh wow. Wow.
Well, yeah, sweet. What do you say about harvesting? A lot of people say different stuff. I hear people saying wait till it's amber, or something about amber and this and that.
I don't know. We have different strategies for that, I think. What's your strategy?
Yeah, what's your strategy?
It's not that it's different strategies. Like what Flynn was talking about is all about like how to wash fresh frozen somehow, right?
Yeah.
And it is this like kind of like new school method of making hash. I come more from the world of traditional hash, like this amazing lady here, which is a true inspiration for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even the terpenes and the resin, it's different. I remember that before I was always looking for like strains that were super greasy, you know, like that I would touch them and then my hand would be full on power greasy, or even like late harvest hash that I loved, like how the late harvest like trichomes would just like melt, you know, when you were washing. But like now I understand the difference, you know. I feel like what we look for, at least on the indoor, it's like maturity, that it's like, I think that it's a bit before the like, I don't know how to fully explain that, but we don't see that much amber, you know.
Okay.
But it's also because we're running indoor. I feel like if those plants were run outdoors with the same amount of time, we would like look and we would see like a bit more amber resin. I think that that's also like the sun too. But I think in the indoor we'll look a lot for like more like how do you say, opaque kind of like trichomes, you know, like not transparent. So you would you see that milky white kind of maturity, and yeah, it's been great. I mean,
yeah, I feel like we want to, like a lot of the strains we run too, we look for a strain that has like a good window where there's like a lot of trichomes that are in that milky white stage, because like some plants I notice go through like waves almost of like they grow trichomes at different rates, and like they'll have a bunch of heads that are amber that are older and a bunch that are newer and just springing up, and it won't hit that like even medium throughout the whole thing for like a good time to extract like or like pull it down, you know, like you do. Or some strains it's very interesting. I've had like Todd Resin Ranch extraction, like the window of opportunity for harvesting some strains is like super short, where they can really turn on you after like 3 to 5 days. They can go from
Why is that?
We're not sure, honestly.
Oh,
I think it's more comes down to genetics. Like it'll go from like a really nice like 5% yield or something down to like 2.5%, like much different color resin, like much different acting, like.
And it's very interesting that so we run like indoor and LED, and he run like something with Todd too, that it's like not LED, and it's very interesting to run the same
double-ended bulbs,
like double-ended bulbs, like HPS kind of. Yeah. But it's very interesting to see how the same like strains from the same cuts will just like behave and act differently on also both things. And also, it's very nice when you do like different rounds of the same strains in the same cut, and you encounter like what he just said, like different like you can do a lab in your house, you know, like you can do some alchemy, so you know that strain harvested on that day, grown on that way, will give you that. But if you do it a bit differently and you harvest like 3 or 4 days after, you can do something different.
Like for the Dulce papaya, for example, like when we take it down a little
like
sooner,
3 or 4 days later, you get the papaya.
Way more papaya knows, which you love.
Yeah.
Like you loved that round that we took like a little extra time. You lose that yield a little bit too. It like drops 0.5%. So. Wow.
Yeah, but I mean the terps are different too. They behave differently
it's worth
too.
It.
It's crazy. Like this strain, like it changes. It's the Dulce papaya, the bop gun. Like if you harvest like right on time, it's like like way more like dosey dose, and then 3 days more super papaya. You know, like it's very interesting the way it behaves too. Yeah, now it's time for the dab. We're just like geeking it out.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's talk some consistencies. How do you guys feel about consistencies? What do you like? What's your favorite? Do you like the fresh press?
Rosin wise or hash wise?
Yeah, rosin. Yeah.
I like fresh press a lot, but it's hard to get it in a good way to like the end user in that way. So a lot of the stuff I feel like for the legal market, I've been working toward putting into batter form, because I think it's more shelf stable, and a lot more retailers, they don't always carry refrigerators and freezers, so it allows you to work with a little wider set of retailers and not have a customer like really disappointed when they pick up a product and it's much different than what they see on your Instagram, you know, because it's been buttered out or whatever, what have you. It just hasn't been treated right by the retailer, which
Especially melt. Like, people don't know how to treat melt.
Yeah, melt is the toughest one, I think.
That's what I was
like,
reading.
even people that work in dispensaries, like, they don't know how to treat melt.
No, they don't know how sensitive it is. Because honestly, I would have not known if I didn't
and
expose
a lot of
myself
people
to it
too,
either, you know, or like love it so much. It's like,
and it's so crazy that the final customer never gets that, like, grainy, powdery,
why
like,
is that?
white,
possible.
like,
only directly at the dispensary, and if you get it right in your fridge.
Yeah.
Some of them.
It's tough. Some of them are good about it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you know,
but
soulful's
it's tough.
Yeah, soulful's good. That's true.
Can you explain?
Loco,
Can you explain to me? Can you explain to me why the cannabis would change it up from one form to the next, because it's not? What do you mean? Not handled properly?
Yeah, with solventless products, because we work so hard to like keep things cold all the time. Like even after you put the rosin in the jar, you're gonna wanna, you know, do your best to keep it at least in the refrigerator, melt, especially like really good melt. Even in the refrigerator, it's so warm it'll start greasing up and the resin heads will start sticking together, so you need to keep it in the freezer even. And a lot of those retailers in the recreational
regular
market,
room temperature and
yeah,
stuff,
they just have storage, and like because of the compliance issue too, they're like, well, you know, I have this 10 by 10 room to work with because that's where we have our 24-hour like locked door and everything can be legally stored there and stuff. So then, now I have to stick a freezer in here for you know, only you know, a couple of the products at the end of the day, because they sell so much flour and edibles and other products like that. But I hope with like the development of the market and maybe more edibles needing to be stored at proper temperatures and stuff, we'll have a better opening for like refrigeration at more places and stuff like that.
Well, so I asked Duchess this earlier, and I've also asked Bird and a few other people, because this is what I'm thinking about. What's keeping me up at night currently is like the thing with like, they want this product because it's white. They want that, you know, and it's very light colored and stuff like that. The unpressed, but basically you're familiar with the studies that Frenchie talked about. You know, I think you guys were both there actually. He talked about it at that Sonoma County Cultivators Group meeting. He was saying that there's a test they did, right? And I looked into it. It was this test. They were trying to figure out how they could catch people smuggling hash. So they were like looking up ways that they could identify separate smells, like separate all of it. And then they were testing the difference between pressed hash and regular hash. So they actually lab tested it overseas and stuff. So in that, they actually figured out that they had like 50 to 250 compounds that were in pressed hash that are not in the unpressed hash or in the flower of that same, you know. So he talks about this thing about the pressed hash and stuff, and so I feel like it's partially why rosin became a phenomenon, but also it's why the temple balls really are a phenomenon. So with the whole fresh frozen thing, it's like we have to figure out where the line is, because obviously the too much heat is of a temple ball, it will fuck up the fresh frozen, it'll fuck up that material. But less temperature and no pressing maybe or something like that, like Bird, he just tried this thing where he like put it up in cellophane and his like full meld 90, you know, and then it turned into like hashish, you know, it turned into a block, you know, because
the hash will like almost butter out like a rosin would if it's really high quality foam melt.
Right, that's what that little bit did.
Like when we
spliff out some like 90U,
yeah,
and
like
let
when
it sit outside, and then it just
amazing.
it just like really butters out.
When our
like
freezer died.
When our freezer died.
Oh no,
like
dude!
From last year.
The power outages. The freezer died, and a bunch of like really
let's go
good
get some
like
ice
foam
like
melt
right now.
Just like greased out in the parchment. So I was just
man.
like, well,
Did you have
this
to
is
run
all
and go
personal now. It's a seed run of stuff, so there's a lot of variety too. There's a lot of
You had to run and get a lot of ice. You had to run and get a lot of ice to save it.
No, I wasn't there. We were evacuated because of the fires, and one of the GFCIs on the generator flipped, and that freezer went out. So, you know, we just lost that one because we couldn't go back to the property till, you know, they opened it up again and all that shit.
Well, so I guess I'm asking, like, what do you think about then, like, trying to make a product that it is shelf stable of the 6-star of the full melt, that, you know, it would probably be almost a buttered thing that you would then jar at that point. I think it takes ballsy renegades to fucking, you know, say, hey, this is more potent for you. I know that the market is doing this, but some of us need to come together.
I think it's tough to keep some of those terpene profiles the way people expect them with how they've experienced like 6-star full melt hash. And in a way, that study I feel like was done
on feces.
Probably like dry resin, like plants that were dried out and then made into hash, where we do fresh frozen. So I think it's a different, almost a whole different set of like terpenes.
No, exactly. Well, that's where my curiosity comes in. It's like that testing was done probably with like sticks and rocks and shit like that. You know, it's like that hash. You know, it was pressed in a place where they didn't have a clean environment and stuff like that, or they weren't able to keep stuff out of it and stuff like that. You know. And then either way, it's probably just not the most potent. Whereas the idea, the real part that I've been thinking about most is just that in the most recent years with the fresh frozen, you know, we have not explored the pressed hash aspect of it because people have been so focused on rosin, and, you know, and I just feel like there's like less pressing, less heat necessary, and some place that we find that will then make it a shelf stable product. I don't know, obviously,
Personally, I feel like, and I mean, I don't know, I don't have that much experience with traditional hash, to be honest with you, but I feel like you would need to wash maybe with different goals in mind, or start conglomerating bags after you dry everything, like say, okay, we're gonna put this together, this together, this together, to create like the certain consistency that's still gonna be good and shelf stable for the customer and stuff like that. I think it's difficult to do fresh frozen, especially some strains, because I feel like in a way, just the way the resin acts,
so I guess
speak to how the best way to store it. But I don't know, I haven't experienced that much with it, so it could be totally different than that.
The reason I guess all this came up is like I realized through buying the product and then it melting in the jar and stuff that I kind of really like the different accents that come out once it's buttered and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, maybe there's a place for that in the future. You know?
I think the customers have gotten used to like experiencing that themselves, and I like giving the people the power to like be like get it in the most, because you're never going to be able to go backwards.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
So
agree,
if you can
100%,
get it like fresh as possible, then like you yourself can say, okay, I'm going to get home, take this out of the jar and like put it in cellophane and like cure it like that for like the way I like to consume it. Or you can say, I'm gonna keep it in the freezer and keep it powdered hash, and when I want to take a dab, I'm gonna just bring the jar out, dump a bit on parchment and like flatten it out, put that jar back in the freezer, so the next time I come to it in like 3 days or a week, like, you know, some people I know have like crazy stashes in the freezer. It's like nuts. You're just like, oh my god, like hash hoarders. You keep those flavors around, and like it's wild to be able to like, you know, have hash that's like 3 or 4 years, 5 years old, and it's still that like almost like as fresh as you'd take it out of the, you know, the freeze dryer off the racks, you know, if you were air drying like that day, you know. It's interesting to see too, like long term how the terpene profile changes with like having something sit in the freezer to cure in a way. Like it can change a bit over like a year from keeping, you know, hash like cookies and cream. I've kept it from like a year in the freezer, and a year later it will taste, you know,
the same,
different.
Same way. Oh, different.
A little different
than
the fresh stuff. Like those terpenes will have changed a bit, but still definitely have the, you know,
different means better.
Different no, not really.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Not really. Just different.
That's different.
Just a different terpene profile
different,
compared
but it still
to
tastes
like,
good.
The freshest gram of hash. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's hard to make
right?
that one taste bad.
Yeah.
Now the question of the night for me: indoor plants or outdoor plants?
I think if you have the ability to grow greenhouse or outdoor, that's like the best way to do it.
Outdoor, so outdoor. You said it. Oh, which one are you?
I personally like greenhouse, especially nowadays with everything going
indoor.
on.
Okay.
Well, greenhouse would be like not indoor, but not outdoor either,
okay.
Really.
Like something in the
in
middle.
In between.
It's like you know, like a greenhouse, like
without,
with like a plastic roof, and like the sun still shines through, but
it's also
like
maintain more moisture. But it also maintains. Yeah, that process. You also maintain more moisture with the plants too to make it grow faster, right? Oh, not really.
You maintain better conditions. You know,
better
like
conditions.
better conditions for the
You have
plant.
a little more control, whereas if a plant's just outside, I mean, you're at will to Mother
It's like
Nature.
what's happening
like 100%.
Oh,
wow. How many people are going to be very affected by the fires?
And are you in the cannabis industry, sir? You mind if we ask who you are and what you do in the cannabis?
Not in the industry, but I founded a cannabis association of.
Move closer if you're down. Hell yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I founded some years ago in Brazil a cannabis patient association that needed, especially for low-income people, because in Brazil now, if you have money, cannabis is legal for you. You know, you can pay a good lawyer to get the papers and import to use for medical purpose, or do you know? And the poor people in the ghetto is still going to the jail for cannabis.
And where again? In Brazil?
Brazil.
In Brazil.
We're both from Brazil.
I'm living here in Santa Rosa the last 4 years because I had to move here because Brazilian regulation. There I am
You're not
a gangster, do you know?
They consider cannabis people
cannabis
criminal.
Yeah, the laws consider me like a gangster.
What?
Yeah, but here I am a professional. Do you know? It's totally different.
Well, same in America, because I moved up here from the South, and I love the South. Same here in America in certain places. I moved here from the South, or New York, or other states that's not legal yet. People are getting locked up for years for growing and smoking cannabis. You can't even smoke a joint in public in the non-legal cannabis states, because that would be even classified as probably a misdemeanor, or if you have any on you, felony. You go to prison in America. That's the same thing there too.
For example, I was making Rick Simpson oil, a simple extraction in Brazil, and given for the low-income families that really needed to epilepsy, diabetics, for medical purpose.
Wow.
And I was helping more than 100 people there.
Wow.
Alone, man. Because I was planting and making the extractions, and a group of moms enter in contact with me, asking for help. Because I started a fake profile in Facebook, put my photos, my plants, my extractions.
Oh, wow.
And I found another Brazilian growers doing the same. And we organized it and started to change informations and learning together. But in some point it was very dangerous to me, and I prefer move here to keep my studying and keep doing my job here, because here I can show my face. In Brazil, I can't do it.
Wow.
So now I'm here because I'd like to learn all that I can about cannabis, about everything, and share to Brazilian community.
Yeah.
Because in my in my opinion, just with education we can change and speed up our regulation. You know,
yes.
Because the other side is just in telling bullshit about cannabis the last 100 years.
Right.
So.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
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 Awesome.
Wow, that was
Sorry,
really
proceed.
And after I moved here, I felt stronger to put my face and show the reality about cannabis here. I am making interviews. I am participating of all these fairs and conference
and
here.
now you're part of We Live. You're part of us now.
I'd like to say thank you to give me this space, because it's too hard to get information about Brazilian regulation, hemp and cannabis regulation in the internet or in the other magazines on the international media. It's like Brazilian do not exist. Brazil do not exist.
You can't even talk about it. You can't talk about cannabis in Brazil either.
Yes, we can talk about the cannabis movement is strongest now. I am very happy because in this point, Brazil is maybe in some months we can regulate this market and we'll change everything there. The cannabis associations can start to plant and make research, because the research that the association, medical club would like to do is totally different. The research is from the industry, because they like to patent the things, and we like to share with the community and the society. It's totally different. So I am here to try attract attention for the cannabis regulation and cannabis movement. We have 210 million people in Brazil, and I believe with this actual government in Brazil, everybody needs cannabis to survive, man. Because it's not easy to deal with that genocide, you know.
We were only in that situation a few years ago in this country, so we need to have people's back. People that are coming here for our help, we need to understand these movements. So please tell us more about what's going on there, what we can do to help.
In my opinion, we have to show the reality now in Brazil. The cannabis movement, especially with moms and children and other patients that really need it to eat. It's not to smoke. It's not for adult use. We defended the adult use too, but it's too much to pass in the same way in Brazil. It's too conservative, you know. So in this strategy, they are trying to pass just the cannabis associations, the industry and the researches. The university can start to plant and make a research. But in my opinion, after 2 years in this new regulation, the movement will be stronger, man. Because after publicity, 2 years of real education, 2 years of research, and maybe we can multiply for 10 the patients in Brazil in 2 years, and we will be stronger in 2 years, and we will go fight for more rights, you know, with more people.
Yes, Brazil.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. It's a pleasure to me to be here. It's like a dream, because it was very hard. I had to do a lot of things just to be here now, you know. I had to learn another language, move for another country, sell all my things, and believe in this dream and go alone. And now I am trying to connect more. And because I have a little bit more English than I arrived, and I'd like to show the necessity of the patients, the families, the poor families. You know, Everybody's just talking about the money, the best, and I try to represent the people that can be here now because they are in the ghetto.
Yeah. Oh wow.
You know, and they are and they are seeking for the police. They don't have their rights respected. Because in Brazil we are the worst
government or
the worst money distribution, do you know, in the world.
Oh, I see.
So in the side you have rich and the best, other side nothing.
Yeah, the poor, the super poor, the ghettos.
Yeah. The gap is too much, do you know? And we are the young revolutionaries that we are fighting to get the right back for this medicine, the right back, because we just have 100 years prohibited and 1,000 years of use, you know. In my opinion, we have to restore the history and learn everything that our right did with this plant in the all generations.
Exactly.
To honor our ancients, you know?
Yes. Wow.
Thank you, man. For real, thank you.
So do you want to do any kind of work? You want to do also some kind of work? Are you working in the cannabis industry, or are you just a spokesman person for the cannabis?
I already did everything about cannabis.
Okay.
I breed. When I was in Brazil, I breed seeds because we don't have good seeds there. So I travel for another countries to get seeds and get in my home. It's selecting the best varieties, acclimatized for the ambient, for the Brazil ambient, for the São Paulo specifically, in my home city, São Paulo, and I start to make extractions because in some point I already have in my shelf a lot of jars full of weed. It's too much to me, and I was receiving a lot of messages like saying, I really need help, please. And when in some point I started to be like in obligation to help. I needed to help. It's my obligation to do it. And in this time I was working in São Paulo with Apple products. I had technical assistance for Apple stuffs. But I was getting money in that time, but I'm not happy because everybody that come for a store like that come with a lot of problems. I broke my my screen, my phone is not working, and oh my God, I
deleted. Where are my pictures? I hate you so much.
That was all my backup.
And my computer's broken, and it's your fault. Blah blah blah. People, sit down.
But in the same time, in the same day, with all these problems, I received a message from the patient saying, "Thank you very much. Today my daughter woke up good and we was walking the street. We ate ice cream. Was awesome. Thank you for help us." And every time that I thought about it, I felt it. So because after it changed all my life, because I started to be happy with me, not with I have, but what I am and what I'm doing. And I changed it. I decided to keep doing, and I never go stop it. I go until the victory, you know. Yeah. We have this right. We go get it.
We are having some cannabis conversations.
Thanks, man, for this space.
This guy's from Brazil. He's got stories. We have. Oh man, I'm gonna have to talk to you later. We can plug you in.
Santa Rosa, we'll do a whole show.
Santa Rosa. I would love to do another show about Brazil. Exactly, another show.
Sorry about my English. I don't have perfect English, but I'm doing my best. You know.
I'm still working on my English.
It's better than Rage's.
Thanks, man.
No, it's good. Thank you. Awesome.
It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Yeah.
It's awesome to me.
Pleasure to have you, man.
Awesome.
Really.
Everybody's story is amazing here.
Yeah. And we got one more person here in the circle. Several other people left in this circle. The Dank Duchess. Did I get it right?
You did.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty fine.
That was a fun class that
It
we
was
had
an
today.
amazing class. Bird did a great job.
Yeah, what would you like to add to the class that you saw today to give people more exciting experiences relating to cannabis?
I think Bird, covered it completely, totally. Taking this precious material that he had and did a great job. Great wash. Oh, the color was fantastic. It was that nice light creamy yellow, and the whole process was nice. And I felt it was really nice that he continued all to the point of doing rosin, because then we were able to see several parts of the stages of making hash, whether from washing it, creating temple ball, and also making rosin. So it's great to see so many people really excited about making their own, as opposed to just only depending on having the right strain or the right medicine in the dispensary. When you know that you can take care of your own cannabis needs, whether it's growing or making your own hash, I think that's where freedom is.
A writer, correct, in the cannabis industry. Would you like to give a related story that you wrote in relations to cannabis that would
besides the story you did earlier?
Yeah, exactly. Would love to have another one. Same question. I know. I would love to hear. Like I said, I would love
a new question.
A new question. I can't.
I'm a writer. What I do mostly is hash consulting, so that's what I mostly do.
This is my backup crew. Help me with questions.
I do mainly is hash consulting now. So I travel to farms because I didn't elect to go legal. I just didn't have the funds to do that. So I then decided to use education, which I've always been doing for the last 6 years, as the vehicle to spread the message about making your own, growing your own and making your own. So I travel to go to farms, teach them how to make hash, using their product. It's not teaching them on something different. It's like, oh, you've slaved over this to make this the perfect plant. Let me show you how you can make like a phenomenal 6-star resin, because that's what we came out from that.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and then that's that.
Wow. The knowledge and the education of cannabis, I have to learn still so much. And I'm glad there's so much knowledge. There's so many different variety of beautiful people from around the world relating to cannabis. Relating to like the truth of cannabis, the conspiracy of cannabis. Do you think that cannabis, with the legal aspects of cannabis, any of you guys can answer this, that the cannabis is better because it's going through a legal process instead of people producing whatever they want without like passing tests? Do you think the cannabis is better now than it was in the black market industry?
No, because in black market we were testing. That's the thing. It's not that legality brought testing. We were testing already, and legality just mandated testing. But if you were going to be in any kind of like dispensary, and especially the high-end dispensaries, you had to pass quite a few tests. So this is, and in fact, after legality, some amounts that we wouldn't have allowed in 215 does become okay. So there's that. No, it didn't get better. We didn't get better.
Okay. What's your opinion on that, guys? Feel the same? That the cannabis didn't gotten better or stay the same relating to like really good cannabis where it's healing, where it's producing more trichomes?
I feel like over-regulation makes quality get worse in many ways.
Wow.
Yeah, because especially farmers, they're running like small batches. Sometimes you can't even put a small batch product on the shelf because you have to pay a very expensive amount for a test from that strain. If you have multiple strains, you have to pay that fucking crazy price in every strain you're gonna run, and sometimes it make it impossible for a few farmers even to put it out. So it asks for farmers to like monocrop more strains, not to vary a bunch of other things, and I think it just gets worse. We were talking about hash before, and I feel like it's how hard it is to have like full melt on the legal market. Like it's just a few companies in California.
Because it won't pass tests?
No, it's because the regulations make it hard. So
like what kind of regulations? Explain some of the people.
Like having to have, how do you say, like a refrigerator, or having to have distributors. Like the farmer can't like sell his things, or he can't sell it to straight up to a dispensary
He
has to go through somebody else. So there's the middleman in the legal market too.
Oh wow.
And the middleman can fuck things up in the middle. Like
hello. Wow, those kind of regulations. You got to go from this order to this point
Yeah.
by the I guess the new laws or just new regulations of cannabis, since cannabis has now become legal. You think they should change up those cannabis laws, if that's what we can call them, cannabis laws?
I think they should definitely get rid of some of these.
Yeah.
I mean, we have like I don't know the exact number, but cannabis has way more regulation on it than like anything else you could possibly think of. We like the hundreds of regulations on cannabis.
Yeah, they try to make it impossible.
I've been around like I was in with a lot of people from like Humble Brand. You know, I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I've seen a
lot of those guys, but like I've been around the farms, worked on a bunch of farms, and pretty much it just seems like they try and make it impossible. Like, cause up at one spot, like they had some buildings, you have to permit all your buildings, fucking grade your roads, fucking so much shit.
And it costs so much. You know, so many people get lost in this regulatory translation that they do amazing product and they have a lot of great medicine to offer, but they don't make it to the legal market.
Yeah. They just created like a big kind of catch-22 where like for the last, you know, before legalization, basically all the growers have been pushed to like the fringes of like rural properties, and they have the last dirt road where it's like they're 2 hours off the 101 on a dirt road up Spy Rock, up 2 more valleys deep, you know, and then there's their gate to get 3 more gates to actually get to their property. So like when you're talking about when the regulators come and say, oh well, you got to pay to grade all that so our Ford Focus from the regulation committee can get up your road and like check you out, they want to go, fuck
like
you, get a truck.
So
you know, like I bought a truck.
So
I had to buy a truck to get up here. You get a truck.
So you got to repave your road in a sense. That's the law.
You got to grade it. It has to
so
meet certain standards for like the, you know, which is
it's over. You know, it's a over regulation.
It's just over regulation
many
at almost every juncture, like from a tax perspective, from just the kind of regulatory costs they make everyone pay through like permitting fees, and then also through like having certain measures in place where it might not be a direct cost to the county, but it's a cost to your business.
Oh wow.
You know, like having to add so much packaging because you need a government warning and you need the testing and you need all this stuff creates so much waste for the end product. And then at the farm level, like they make you tag every plant, which is like another piece of paper, another piece of plastic. So then you gotta tag every plant with a metric ID. So there's a bunch of waste created with that. And then all these things just to create tracking cannabis, which is not a harmful substance. Straight up, like it will not kill people.
Well, that's why they should classify it, and I don't think they have classified. That's why they should classify it as a medicine instead of a drug, because it's still under law in America as a class 1 misdemeanor drug, cannabis. So that's the first law that should change. It's turned into a medication, and then I'm wondering if they will put it under the same regulations as medications, and you see how well that's working.
Yeah, that's not working.
Yeah,
I know.
I wish it was in the
would
same
you classify
way
it
as food, you know?
Yeah, I wish it was regulated like tomatoes.
Oh,
like,
okay,
if you want,
food. Now,
you
that's
grow
even
as
better.
much as you want
like
in your
lavender.
backyard.
Let me
exactly.
let's regulate
If that's your
it like
deal,
lavender.
like grow as much as you want. It's
Right.
not a harmful thing,
like
so
a yard
grow it.
full of
And if you
lettuce.
want to
Right.
buy it from the store, then buy it from the store. You
Right,
know,
exactly.
and then there's
So
an
if we
industry
treat
for that
So
too.
we treat it like the food industry. If we treat the cannabis like the food industry, there'd be less crazy regulations on it.
Yeah.
It would be
Instead
less
of a drug. Instead of a
overtaxed.
drug.
You know what? It's very crazy because just like Andre, I'm also from Brazil, and when I moved to California, I had this hope that this was like a legal dream of cannabis, you know. And then I got here, and I was like, wow.
Saw the reality.
That's not what I would advocate to, you know, like as a cannabis advocate. And it's crazy because it feels like cannabis is still locked up, you know, the plant, and they're still locking up people, especially the people in most vulnerable situations.
Because nothing is still passed. Nothing is still passed by federal regulations.
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. When do you think it's going to ever pass some federal regulations for cannabis?
Oh yeah, I think in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years. Wow.
I can see that.
In the next 5 years also.
Yeah, I think about next 5 years they're going to federally regulate it, and that's when it's going to get to be. I mean, a level of insanity has been reached in California, but it's going to get to a whole nother level on a national level.
Oh, wow.
I hope, honestly, that the federal government just kind of stays hands off. Maybe they put a small tax on it. I hope none to begin with. And they just say, okay, whatever's legal in your state's legal. States will start to put in regulations for interstate commerce, and then we'll be able to sell it like a normal product, and we'll have to, I'm sure, still pay redonkulous taxes.
Redonkulous, always. Yeah.
That's how that goes, you know.
Right.
Sadly.
Wow. You have any questions, Frank? Because I'm burning out on questions. Yeah.
What the regulations made me think of is just like, with all the regulations and all the money they're trying to usurp out of the possible, not even profits of the situation, but just out of the market itself and out of the economy that comes from this and stuff, we still all find ourselves fighting even further with the chemical-free, solventless aspect. So what fuels your flame in that category? What made you passionate? What brought you to solventlessness? Was it hash? Was it rosin? What you know, or what, you know, before rosin, I imagine. But
I'll let her speak on that.
Yeah.
first.
Okay. Sweet.
What?
You go.
Any questions or was long form?
What brought me?
What brought you to
how did you
hash?
get so
What brought you to
passionate about
solventless hash?
Smoking it for sure. In Brazil, in a prohibitionist setting, you know, like I remember that when I first smoked my bubble hash, that for sure it came from California. I just fell in love the first time.
Oh, wow.
And then I followed the hash track, you know.
Nice.
But I really fell in love. The terpenes were very different, and very different than like dry sift hash. Especially in Brazil, we get a lot of like dry sift, kind of from Morocco.
That's what you're saying, yeah,
And
Morocco.
Morocco,
I heard
like,
Morocco hash is the best.
I love Moroccan hash too.
I heard
And
it's like-
they even have some like the filter. No.
What was that again?
It's not only being the best, but I mean, this would be good quality, but I don't know the best.
But there is a
volume they
quality
produce.
over
Yes,
there.
yes.
The
And
volume they produce.
they support like so much of the world, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like it's
They
just
make a
crazy, you
lot of
know.
hash.
They make
Right.
a lot
They
of
make a
That's what I
couple
thought.
metric
But
tons of hash
There
for sure.
is like some good quality hash.
yeah.
I
It's
really
just
enjoy
rare.
like double filter dry sift. Like they
Oh, okay,
have,
you get
like,
some
in
like
the egg.
settle. You
Yeah,
get some
zero, zero.
Okay,
Yeah.
then like, we get that on
It is great.
Really good.
But
Wow.
the terpene profile in bubble hash, I don't know, it's because of the water, probably because of a bunch of terpenes are soluble, a bunch of terpenes are not, and what it sits over there. Everything was just very different. And I fell in love with like the very gassy strains that were coming up with like the bubble hash, like more traditional, like more like temple bulk, like. And then I wanted to come here to learn how to do it. And I actually met Frank, who's like behind the camera right now.
Right. Oh.
Yeah. And well, here we are.
Wow. Wow. This
But
has been
yeah, it's just nice to experience. Like this is the most beautiful expression of cannabis, at least for me. So you answered that now.
Okay. I guess for me, you know, I grew up in the Midwest in Minnesota, and like the first hash I got out there was definitely like dark pressed hash, and I liked that a lot because it was something I liked a lot more than the flower we were able to get out there, which was pretty like, you know, not the best. You know, it's not the best market out in Minnesota. It's a lot of B grade from Canada, a lot of like
Shout
not
out
the
to
best stuff from
Canada.
not the best stuff from Cali, and basically.
We love Canada. Hello, Canada.
Yeah, Canada is great. We love all the Canadians we know.
Yeah. I love the Canadians.
I love the Canadians. I love the Canadians.
I should love this guy
Canadians,
because he's almost a
especially
Canadian.
Canadian
Yeah.
bacon.
He's the closest of a Canadian who can get in the United States, I guess.
All right, having too much fun. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have any questions back here? Or you have... This has been awesome. So yeah, Frank. Any more questions from Frank? This has been a very awesome interview.
I'm gonna have to check out. Y'all are killing me here. I'm going too long. I don't have any more questions.
Everybody's like, yes, I'm getting worn out too.
That was a really awesome
I'm getting worn out.
I'm gonna shut this down.
Yeah. Wow, that was an in-depth cannabis interview with some of the top.
Fuck yeah, guys. Thank you.
Some of the top.
Very
Thank
much.
you.
It's been awesome. It's been better getting to know you.
Yes.
For years. Awesome to have you on Be Live. Thank you very much. We'll do a long
Thank
form
you,
one day.
yes.
I'll write out some questions. We'll think about it.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Fuck yeah. Sweet. Thank you very much.
Dope.
Thank you guys, man. Wow, that was incredible. This was awesome. Wow.
Thank you to your friends.
Yeah, for real. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you to your friend. Who? Yeah, I really would like to get his
It's
info.
actually very crazy because I've seen him in a few Emerald Cups, but he does a very nice work. Like he had to go through a lot of shit to be here. It's like it's not easy being an immigrant and being here. You know?
Well, if you guys want to plug into our podcast, it is on dlive.tv/weedlive, WEDLIVE, and we're going to download this. No, it's actually going. Yeah, we're actually going live now, but you can go back and see the video of the whole day of this. If you guys like to.
Yeah, I'm gonna upload a lot of the video from that camera and stuff like that, so I'll send you that. That's
awesome.
Thank you guys for joining us on Weed Live. We really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with us this evening. You guys have a great rest of the weekend. You guys going to be here tomorrow?
Might stop by.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Alright, Rage, ended on some type of sing-song note or something?
Sing-song note?
You always have a song or poetry or something?
No, I didn't think of one. I've been talking all day long. This was about it.
Alright.